Thank you, Madame Le Grip. First of all, I would like to begin with gratitude. You invested a great deal of effort to ensure that the resolution in Georgia would be both substantively strong and clearly formulated.
It was my duty. It was our duty.
And yet, this resolution clearly describes Georgia's democratic backsliding, especially against the backdrop of renewed political persecution, arrest, and repression under the Georgian Dream government. For example, former Minister for Euro-Atlantic Integration Alexei Petriashvili was detained, something many perceived as a demonstrative act. At the same time, our colleague, the exceptionally courageous journalist Danuka Georgiani, who was helping political prisoners, was imprisoned. Parallel to this, the arrests of young students, including girls, resumed, which part of society sees as an attempt to suppress protest movement. In your opinion, why has the regime become so brutal? Does it no longer care at all about the reaction of the West?
Well, I can't really explain why the repression is more and more brutal. Probably that the Georgian Dream government, yes, it's what you said, thinks that the Western countries, the European countries are quite busy with other matters and other regions of the world, the Russian aggression against Ukraine that continues, and for now more than 4 years, different kind of threats, foreign interferences, digital interference, etc., on different European countries, and of course what's happening in the Middle East, and maybe it's what sorry for the confusion. The Georgian authorities are clearly thinking that we are so busy with other issues that we will not focus on what's going on Georgia, and that if things continue in Georgia, we will get let's put it like this, quote, tired and will not continue to be committed and involved. I really would like to say very officially that one of the messages that I wanted to send very clearly and very loudly with this resolution, as the European Parliament did a few weeks ago, and the resolution has been quite largely voted, as you know, is that we are not forgetting, at least at the French National Assembly, with a large majority of members, we are not forgetting what's going on in Georgia. We are not forgetting the demonstrators. We are not forgetting all the politicians, the journalists, the different activists, the media, the civil society that is fighting against the oppression and against the repression of the Georgian Dream government. That we're still looking at you. We're still listening. You're not alone, and that's why I put forward this resolution. And I really insist. It took me some weeks, even I could say some months, but I finally achieved the goal. Have it in the plenary, having a debate and having a large majority. So really to say that we are not forgetting, we are still very, very concerned, and we are still doing what we can. We have some tools. We have a toolbox as members of parliament, and we're using all the tools that we have in our box to ensure the Georgian people and all the demonstrators that we are still very, very concerned. We are not forgetting. Yeah, we, at least as member of the French National Assembly, are not forgetting what's going on. Yeah.
What kind of process or trajectory could this document now take? We deeply appreciate the fact that you explicitly wrote in the resolution that visa and financial sanctions should target Bidzina Ivanishvili and his circle. Almost all political groups support this document. How realistic is it that such a united political position could turn into practical steps? And how much influence could this have on the French government in accelerating sanctions against the Georgian Dream authorities? Does the Weimar Triangle also support this recommendation?
In our institutional system, we as a parliament have not so many tools, and we don't have a real competence regarding international affairs. All we can do is send political messages, putting pressure on our government, but we can't do more. You know, if you compare our institutional system with other institutional systems in other European countries, our competences, what is affecting international affairs, European affairs, are not very large. So we can only send political messages to you, of course, to other actors, but to our government, and asking and putting pressure and asking. But it's not a mandatory message. There is no automatic consequences of a political resolution, even if this political resolution is largely adopted in the French Parliament. We had the support of the French government, because the government is always present in the plenary when we discuss about the resolutions or piece of legislations, and the member of the French government did give the support of the French government to our text, but it doesn't mean that it will immediately take into account all our recommendations and all the different means that we want to have activated. So we'll have to continue to put political pressure, ask our government. I'm member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and we'll have the hearing of our Foreign Affairs Ministry next week in front of our Foreign Affairs Committee. So I will probably take the floor and ask again to Minister of Foreign Affairs what could be now the other steps that could be taken by the French government in coordination, of course, with other European countries. The Weimar Triangle, as you may have seen, is very concerned, and that has been publicly declaration made by the three ministers of the Weimar Triangle of our three countries, France, Poland, and Germany, expressing a deep concern. It means that we very concretely are asking French government and other European governments to begin to work in order to integrate sanctions against several people, probably in what could be a next Russian packet sanctions. You know, we will probably have it. I don't know if it's in weeks or in months, have to consider a new package of sanctions vis-à-vis Russia. And the idea would be to put pressure on our government, but for the moment I have absolutely no answer, no precise answer on that matter, but to work with other European governments in order to integrate some sanctions, financial sanctions, and maybe ban visa. We could consider this on some Georgian citizens in a new Russian package of sanctions. But it's a question of political pressure. We have to continue the political pressure on our government, and it will be, again, also made by the members of the European Parliament, because they also had concerns about coming sanctions vis-à-vis Georgian citizens. So both with our colleagues from the European Parliament, we'll have to continue to put the question on the table and to have it on the agenda. That's what we can do. I can't be more precise, but we will continue to ask our government and to put the question on the table. Sanctions against different Georgian citizens. For the moment, I don't have any answer.
If this doesn't happen soon, including the implementation of Weimar Triangle countries' recommendations and sanctions against high-ranking Georgian Dream officials, nihilism toward this entire process may emerge in Georgia. Bidzina Ivanishvili and his inner circle possesses significant assets in France and in other EU countries. If sanctions are not actually enforced, would this not deepen skepticism toward European policy? At the same time, we see representatives of the government freely traveling throughout Europe while simultaneously insulting Europeans, undermining democracy, and constantly criticizing the West.
I totally understand what you're saying about skepticism and kind of double standard, or having made official statement and then concretely letting people travel without any kind of visa ban or any kind of financial sanctions. I'm also very concerned, and I do share the emotion that I can hear in your question, and this is why I'm absolutely committed to continue to put pressure on my government and with colleagues from other national parliaments or colleagues from the European Parliament on the different European authorities which could be engaged, because I clearly understand that there can be a lack of credibility and coherence and consistency. Yes. I share the concern that you have on this matter. Yeah, I can't say else, but I understand that this is really very difficult to understand and to continue to understand. Yeah, I don't think that we have any legal basis to put sanctions on another format than the European Union format. We can't have national sanctions or even sanctions in the format of Weimar. What I understand and what I have been told by our ministry, we have a member of the French government, Mr. Benjamin Haddad. He's now a member of the French government of European Affairs, very involved and very concerned about what's going on in Georgia. I'm discussing very regularly with him about the situation in your country, and I listen to what he's telling me, and the format, the accurate format is the format of the European Union. We can't have, for the moment, we don't have, we as French government, French Republic, we don't have the legal tools to put national financial sanctions. So it has to be on a European level, in a European format, and that's why it's important to consider that we could integrate. Let's put it like this, shortly said, Georgian sanctions in future Russian package.
Is it time for the French prosecutor's office to consider legal measures against Bidzina Ivanishvili regarding possible violations of international conventions?
Yes, I know that. Yeah. I can't, sorry, but I can't express myself on any initiative that could be taken by any prosecutor. It's difficult for me to express myself on this matter. I prefer to stay on the political level and the dialogue that I can have with the French government, in order to continue to be very active in insisting on the messages that I want to send to my government. It's difficult for me to express myself on any kind of other initiative, especially coming from the Justice Ministry.
I understand what you are saying. I was simply asking about the mechanism. Of course, in democratic country, the prosecutor's office is an independent institution and makes decisions independently. Let us return to the resolution, where it was written that Bidzina Ivanishvili should be stripped of France's honor award.
Yes, I put it very precisely in the resolution that has been largely adopted. That means that on a broad majority, my colleagues from the French National Assembly did agree with me on that matter. And previously, more than 1 year ago, I put an official question towards my government on this precise issue. I didn't get any answer, so I'm asking officially the question on this very precise subject, the French Legion of Honor. I have no answer, and on this matter, during the debate last week in the plenary, the member of French government didn't answer either on this precise issue. It's a difficult issue, but I want stop.
I'm interested in your assessment. Why do you believe Ivanishvili does not deserve France's highest order of merit?
Well, I don't think that this distinction, French Medal of Honor, should be still. It is a very high distinction in the French Republic. Even I think the highest civil distinction. I'm not talking about military distinctions, and it's supposed to reflect. To reflect values and commitment, and it's called the Legion of Honor. So I really think that this person, Mr. Ivanishvili, shouldn't be awarded and has no right to be honored by the French Republic. I don't see why he should continue to be honored by the French Republic. So it's just a question of coherence regarding French Republican values, and I don't see why he's still he's still considered as being awarded by this distinction. I don't see why the honor should be still recognized. This particularly Medal of Honor should still be recognized to Mr. Ivanishvili, because I don't think that there is a question of honor in what he's in doing, and it's a French distinction. So why should we continue to give that French distinction to this citizen?
Yes, we're talking about person who took away this country's European future, violently dispersed pro-European demonstrations, tortured and poisoned people, while prisoners of conscience remain in jail to this day.
And French Republican values. So, but the thing is that this distinction is not ruled by the French government. We have an order, and the conditions have to be fulfilled. It's delicate, but as a member of parliament can only ask questions to my government, I'm asking that precise question to my government. But I'm afraid to say that for the moment I got no answer, and I'm not sure that I will get an answer in the coming weeks, but I will continue to ask why.
Let us move to another topic that I'm sure interests many people in Georgia. It is known that there was previously a telephone conversation between President Macron and Bidzina Ivanishvili. Why did this dialogue was suspended? What was the phone call about?
I have absolutely no information about this conversation, and I understood that the dialogue, if we can speak about dialogue between President Macron and is not continuing. But I can't answer your question about was going on, what was this call about, what was the substance of the conversation. I have absolutely no information about that. It's not the kind of information that the French government or the French presidency is giving to members of parliament. Yes, for me, I don't know what was the conversation, but clearly it hasn't produced any positive results. If I consider what was the electoral process, what was the result of the electoral process, and what was the whole consequences of the victory. Let's put it like this, with many the stolen victory of the Georgian Dream after the last elections, and all the consequences, the brutal repression, etc., etc. I consider that this conversation, if conversation we can mention, has produced absolutely no effects, no positive effects. So it shouldn't be continued.
So after that, there was neither open or closed communication?
I think that might have maybe be some contacts between some French officials, not President Macron, but some French officials and some Georgian officials, but very, very briefly. In Yerevan, during the last European Political Community meeting, Yerevan, but I have no information about what was the kind of context that took place in Yerevan.
It is interesting what happened in Yerevan.
But the main issue of this meeting of the European Political Community in Yerevan was to stabilize Armenia and to reinforce the links between the Armenian current government and the European Union and the European community, and also the links, reinforce the links between the French government and the Armenian government. That was the main topic. But what's going on in Armenia and in the whole region can produce, but it will take probably a very long time, can produce positive effects on the Georgian political situation, on Georgia, what we hope.
If democratic elections are held in Georgia, as this resolution also demands, and if the government changes, how realistic is it that by 2030 Georgia could return to the path of European integration and stand alongside Ukraine and Moldova?
Yes, the door is not closed at all. The door is not closed at all. And of course, the resolution not only condemns the attacks against the civil society, the parties and the media in Georgia by Georgian Dream government, and call for free and democratic elections and so on and so forth, but also take into account the very strong European aspiration of the Georgian people towards the European Union, the European aspiration and the European path for Georgia. That's why we in the French government, as well as the French Parliament, in this resolution, don't close the door at all, and we hope that in the future, and we hope that this future can come as soon as possible. But it depends, of course, of the democratic process in your country. There could be the possibility to start again the process and start again the negotiations towards the possibility of having an integration of Georgian Republic in the European Union. So the door is not closed. It doesn't mean that things are gonna be easy, because, as you may know, the path is long, is difficult, is tough. We are not no country. No European country is in favor of having an accelerated path. We have very serious and very clear criteria, the Copenhagen criteria, and the path. You know this as much as I do, and the path is quite not difficult, but has sequences and be followed very methodically. But yes, of course, this accession perspective, let's put it like this, is remaining open. That's very clear in our statement, and it's also the position of the French government. It doesn't mean that things can be accelerated because all the conditions has to be fulfilled, etc., etc., etc. But yes, this perspective, this European perspective, is still valid and is remaining, and hopefully we can. We start, yes, after credible and free democratic elections in your country. That's absolutely sure. Yeah.
You mentioned that the ongoing process in Armenia could influence Georgia. Armenia's success is indeed very encouraging, but on the other hand, is there not a risk that the West may conclude that it already has Armenia in the region, while Georgia lost the war with Russia, and simply accept this reality?
I think that more or less, let's put it like this, the future of Armenia and the future of Georgia are connected in some ways. I know that it's not very easy to understand and to share, but and what we're doing, and it was really a personal commitment, personal and political commitment of President Macron regarding the very long history of the friendship between France and Armenia to instaure a close connection with the Armenian current government, and to make sure that the Russian influence in Armenia decreases, and that we can assure Armenia of a strong support on defense issues, economic issues, diplomatic issues, and so on and so forth. So, and this has been shared by other European governments. It's that's why the last meeting of the European Political Communique took place in Yerevan, and that all other European countries shared the views of which were previously and primarily the views of the French government on this issue. Regarding Georgia, we have to continue the work, even within the European Union, and within the dialogue that we have with our partners, our 26 partners, because not every country is aware and is considering the situation in Caucasus as important as we do, as French government, I think, and as French Republic. And of course, there was the question of the 20% of the Georgian territory is still occupied by Russian armed forces, and that's why in the resolution I really insist on putting a statement supporting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Georgia. And we have to make this a European concern.
Thank you very much for this position. The occupied territories are an extremely painful issue for us. Right now, we should be working on deoccupation and asking our European allies for stronger support. But the main problem remains Ivanishvili, who wants the West to accept the regime and dictatorship he is establishing here. Is his plan realistic?
No, of course not. I think that there has been a different political statement made not only by the Weimar Triangle but also by. I have all the details in the resolution made by the European Council and so head of states and government. It is very clear that the concerns about the repression and the increasing repression in Georgia are also higher and higher within the circle of the political leaders of the European countries. So nobody wants to accept. The thing is that we're trying to face all the threats and all the items and all the issue that we have to face at the same time, all together, but together, which is important because it gives us more strength and more power. But no, nobody wants to accept this, and nobody wants to be resignated, and that's why there has been also in the European Parliament a very broad majority on for the support of the Georgian people and the Georgian aspiration for democracy, freedom, and a European future. And that's why we succeeded in having it in the French National Assembly as well. And I know that other national parliaments are trying and are beginning to starting to work on identical resolutions. So with different kind of perspective. Maybe it's not always the same in every country, but no, nobody wants to accept this. Nobody wants to accept this. Nobody wants to accept the situation, and nobody wants to accept the dictatorship and the brutal repression that Georgian people and Georgian society is now facing, and of course the question of the sanctions against Ivanishvili is really an issue. It's put on the table. Let's continue to encourage our. That's my task, among others. To encourage my government and other European authorities to have to take the opportunity to be more clear and more efficient in their support, not only statement, even if statement are political and always welcome, but it's not enough. And it's our task to continue to put pressure on our different government and to make sure that nobody accepts, and we will not accept. And we know that Georgian society and Georgian people has to be absolutely sure that what they're doing, what they're fighting for, their courage is seen. We listen, we see, we respect. Different tools managed by the European Commission try to be reorientated, not to official authorities of Georgia, but to civil society. It's difficult for technical reasons and for legal reasons, and because it's difficult to send money officially and efficiently to different NGOs or media in Georgia. But when we speak about these issues of financing the civil society, the media, the free media, NGOs, etc., to the European Commission, the answer is that the European Commission is trying to reorientate some financial tools vis-à-vis civil society and not vis-à-vis agencies or other actors linked to the official authorities. But I know it's difficult. I'm in close contact here in France with members of the diaspora, because there is a Georgian diaspora in France since a very long time. For some of the people that we have here in our country, some are here since many decades for all kinds of historical reason. We know how it is difficult to make sure that the support that the European institutions, as well as French institutions, NGOs, etc., want to send to Georgia, get through the very difficult situation exactly to the people that need it. It's our challenge. Yeah, our challenge here.
And finally, what message would you like to send to Georgian people, to political prisoners, to politicians, journalists, actors, poets, directors, and students imprisoned today, to Georgia's third president, and to all those who identify themselves with a pro-European Georgia?
First, I would like to say to them that they are not forgotten. We see, we listen. We see their courage. We see their courage and their energy and their commitment for democratic values, for freedom, for European values, all values that we share. We admire them because the demonstrations are continuing. I know that it is difficult and that the repression is more brutal every month, every week. So it's a lot of courage to continue to demonstrate and to continue to fight. So first, they are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. You're not alone. We see what you do. We see what you're saying. We try to support you by all means. We continue to be in support and to despite pressure, intimidation. We see you as future European citizens. That's what we hope. You deserve to be, of course, part of the alliance of democratic countries, and with this democratic spirit and the European spirit that you are showing in your different activities, media, demonstrators, political parties, activists, politicians, opposition leaders, students, etc., etc. So that's why we put forward this resolution, just to say you're not alone. We're supporting you. We're not alone, and we will continue to support you, even if it's difficult, even if it's much more difficult for you than for us, of course. But I mean, we know it's difficult because there can be all kinds of political reasons and legal obstacles and diplomatic obstacles and so on and so forth. But we will continue to support you and fight with you for free democratic Georgia.
Will we meet again in free Tbilisi?
Who knows? Maybe. I have to come to Georgia once. It's a bit difficult to imagine it in the coming weeks, but many of my European colleagues have been to Georgia several times, and I will come. I will come, yes, with colleagues, but the most important is to be sure that we will continue. We will continue to put pressure on our government to say to the Georgian political and public opinion that you are not alone, that we understand you, and we are sharing values. We have the common values. We are the same.
Thank you very, very much for this support.
Thank you.